Greetings, people. It's Mr. Pull the Trigger yet again on another episode of the Enlightenment series. So now let's dive inside the exhibit box of what the Commissioner of Police has been claiming to be containing the evidence and proof that Ruth Mathew was defaming Jeremiah Omoto for fame. So let's start with the official statement. I'm sure, I know most of you have been saying, why has Jeremiah never said anything about this? But he actually did. But in a sworn affidavit, in a sworn statement, which he submitted to the Commissioner of Police, other than sworn affidavit or that sworn statement on his public platforms, he has never said anything about this case for the fear that he might give this case some life to some of the followers of his. So he wouldn't want to be a prophet or a DGO who's associated with cases of missing children, because there have been quite a lot of shenanigans happening at Mercy City, and some kids even dying and some missing, including our own baby testimony. So I'm going to recite the statement that Jeremiah Omoto gave to the Commissioner of Police in his own words, in his own handwriting. It's more like 2 pages, but it's very short, but I'm going to break it down into 2 pieces so that we analyze the first piece right now, the first segment, which is going to give an idea about what Jeremiah thinks about baby testimony and what he claims about baby testimony. All of us, all of you, you really want to understand where his mind is concerning this case of baby testimony and these accusations. So according to the Commissioner of Police, the reason why he is taking Ruth Mathew to court is because of these statements that he extracted from Jeremiah Omoto, Emmanuel Marcus, and other 3 witnesses. These are the statements that are constituting the case or the proof of evidence that the Commissioner of Police claims to be having. But there's one piece of document or information, one piece of evidence which is missing from this entire exhibit list of the Commissioner of Police, which is the report of the investigation that they claim to have done, and which proves that Ruth Mathew is either lying, or the baby is not missing, or Jeremiah Omoto is innocent. That report is very critical and it's very important, because it is within that report which should have been the framework upon which the Commissioner of Police could have the legal obligation to pursue a lawsuit or to continue with this prosecution of this woman because of those findings. So now what happens if we realize that the Commissioner of Police did not do any investigation, or the Commissioner of Police does not have any evidence to actually prove that Ruth Mathew was defaming Jeremiah Omoto for fame? Let me bring something quick to your attention, or let me advise Jeremiah Omoto for fame and the entire necessity. Ruth Mathew saying, Jeremiah Omoto, give me back my child, it's not defaming Jeremiah Omoto for fame. Ruth Mathew coming out to say Jeremiah Omoto release baby testimony, it is not defaming Jeremiah Omoto for fame. Why do I say so? Baby testimony, according to the testimonial that we got from Ruth Mathew, the mother, was abducted at Mercy City. That alone is enough to hold Jeremiah Omoto responsible. Whether Jeremiah Omoto is the one that carried out this operation or not, he is still responsible. Ruth Mathew is within her legal rights to call out Jeremiah Omoto for fame, because Jeremiah Omoto for fame is the overseer of the shrine, is the principal. That's why they call him the general overseer, the DGO of Mercy City. Ruth Mathew can never call out ushers, can never call out the security. He can only call out the principal, the owner of the shrine. If anything happens to anyone within that shrine, the one who's responsible is Jeremiah Omoto for fame. So let me just give you a relative example. I've been giving this example for quite a long time, but I'll give it in a different in a different context. If I come to your house today, if you invite me to your house today, you, my friend, if you invite me to your house today, and if it so happens that there is a juror wall which is surrounding your house, and an electric fence, and maybe some CCTV footage, or even, let's say there are no CCTV footages. Let's just say there are no CCTV footages, so that you can understand that Jeremiah Omoto, whether he likes it or not, he is still liable to what happened to baby testimony. Then I come to your house. You invite me. I'm not just going to come to your house. Ruth Mathew did not just go to Mercy City without an invitation. She was invited to the Carry Out, to the Carry Your Samuel program. It might not have been a personal letter direct to Ruth Mathew, but in the form of an advert that they put on public domains. Those are invitations to everyone. So everyone that goes to this program because of these adverts, they are invited in Jeremiah Omoto's personal capacity. Back to the example. If I come to your home right now, and then you open the gate for me, and then I drive my car inside your yard, and then you close the gate behind me, and then I walk out of my car, and then I go inside your house, and then we talk for as long as we want. We discuss, we laugh, we crack jokes, we eat, and we rejoice. And then I wave you goodbye, and then I say I'm leaving. When I get out of the house and then I do not find my car where I parked it inside your compound, you, my friend, you are the one who will be liable. I will hold you liable to whatever that might have happened to my car, unless you can prove it beyond no reasonable doubt that this was an accident. This misfortunate event was an accident. It has absolutely nothing to do with you. Then I might not hold you liable. I might not. But in my legal capacity, I can still hold you liable. Because you're the one who invited me to your house. So before you invited me, you know I'm driving. You know chances that I'll come with my car. And when Jeremiah invites people, he knows some come with their families, with their children, to attend the Carry My Samuel airport that he was giving to his people that were coming to the program. So if I don't find my car, the first person I'll suspect is you to have done something. Because the thing that will come to my head is the gate is closed. How come this whole thing was so smooth to a point that no alarm was raised? No sound was heard. To a point that my car went out, someone drove out with my car. How did they even open the gate? Because to the best of my knowledge, I'll be hoping that this gate is locked to prevent events of this nature. Because a car is a very valuable asset. So the fact that all those security measures are not in place, it makes me question your involvement. It makes me start thinking that, so maybe the reason why you invited me is because you wanted to play this foul game of taking my car. So it is up to me to go and report you to the police and actually get you investigated. When I go to the police and then I tell them this is what happened, the first thing they'll ask me is, who is a suspect? Who do you think is behind this? You, my friend, you'll be the first suspect because the police needs a lead so that they can carry out an investigation. So when they will come back to your house investigating you, they will start cross-examining you. They will start interrogating you. It will even be a big deal if there were CCTV footages or CCTV cameras, surveillance cameras in your compound. Because you'll be asked to show us, to show them. You'll be asked to show the investigation officers the CCTV footages of the surveillance cameras in your yard. But in case there were no CCTV cameras, you'll still be asked, how does your gate operate? How is your security in this compound, in this house of yours? How does this door lock? Is it possible for someone to come from outside and unlock this gate? How possible and how easy is it without people hearing any sound? Those are the questions that they will be asking the owner of the house. If the owner of the house can't prove it, he cannot say that, oh, I just left the door open because I thought nothing was going to happen. That will even get the investigation more interesting. It will make the investigation officers start digging even deeper to understand the role and the involvement of the owner of this house in the theft that just recently happened, in this break-in that just recently happened, which is the familiar case with the issue of Ruth Mathew and Bby testimony. She went there to a program which she was invited by Omoto himself, and her child was abducted. What was the police supposed to do, the commissioner of police? They were supposed to call in Jeremiah Omoto and investigate him. In their report, it was supposed to show, the report which is not there now, in their report, it was supposed to show us that Jeremiah Omoto tried everything possible to prevent, or Jeremiah Omoto has all the security features in place that can prevent or that can help us in case something like this happens, to identify who did it. But in that report, I don't even know what is in that report, because that report has never been disclosed by the Commissioner of Police to the court. It was never attached together with the other documents of the witnesses that were attached in the court. The commissioners of police report is not there, which should show us the security features, which can actually give us the disclaimer that the CCTV footages were not working, the CCTV surveillances were not working. So if they were not working, what other security measures were there at Mercy City that were pre-installed before this event took place? The reason why they can't include all that information in their investigative report is because once they can establish that the CCTV footage was not working indeed, then Jeremiah Omoto automatically becomes liable. The CCTV footage is supposed to be working. On a big program like that, the program that Jeremiah Omoto was hosting, Kerry Maisano, a CCTV footage should be working. A CCTV surveillance should be working. If they can include that report that it was not working, it was faulty, then Omoto is automatically liable. It is that statement alone is subject to a deeper investigation to say, why was it not working? Why was it the only one not working? The one at the entrance, why was it the only one not working? The one at the children's section department, why was it the only two sets of CCTV surveillance? Why these two? Why these two? Why were they not working, only these ones? This is what the Commissioner of Police should have done to Jeremiah Omoto in his investigation. This is the information we should expect, we should have expected in the investigation report when they were cross-examining Jeremiah Omoto before taking his side. If they say the CCTV footages were malfunctioning, if they can say that, if they can include that in the report, it already implicates Jeremiah Omoto and it already implicates Mercy City. That's why they are very careful in what they submit or in what they report. If they can say any other thing, oh, the security was not there when these two women went out with the children and stuff like that, everything implicates Jeremiah Omoto. That's why that report is not there, the report of the investigation. I hope you understand now where the Commissioner of Police stands and the role that he is playing in covering up for Jeremiah Omoto. It doesn't matter how it happened. As long as it happened in Mercy City is liable. Omoto is liable. So there is no any defamation of character here whatsoever. Omoto's character was never defamed. Ruth is in her legal capacity to call out Omoto and Mercy City to release Bby testimony. The Commissioner of Police does not have a case here. Omoto does not have a case. Both of them do not have a case. This case is actually a joke. They are just trying to intimidate you other people that are victims, that tomorrow if you come out to claim, they will do the same to you like what they are doing to Sister Ruth Mathew. There are so many victims that are afraid right now because they know if they come out, Omoto will send the commissioner of police to go and prosecute them. It's a gimmick that Jeremiah Omoto and the commissioner of police are playing to put fear, to instill fear in the general public and many other victims of Omoto out there, not to come up front with what they have experienced or to lodge in complaints about their experiences at Mercy City. I hope this makes this whole thing clear before I recite to you the statement, the first segment of the statement that Omoto Fofane gave. The commissioner of police is just a stooge. He's a decoy that Jeremiah Omoto is using to frustrate Ruth Mathew with court appearances because they don't really have a case. So let's read through what Jeremiah Omoto said in his statement, or to the best of his knowledge, what he knows about this case. Let's hear it for the first time from Mr. PDT right here in another episode of the Enlightenment series. Let's get into it. So the sworn affidavit reads, it's not so clear because it was handwritten, but I'll try to the best of my abilities to read everything that is on this piece of paper, that is on this affidavit, this sworn affidavit, which was written by Jeremiah Omoto Fofane. I have omitted some information on top there, which contains Jeremiah Omoto's personal information. So let me just go straight into the statement that he gave. So it reads, I'll put it up here on the screen, but I'm not sure if you will be able to see it clearly, which I doubt very much that you will be able to see it. But let me just read it out loud so that you can all hear it. Jeremiah Omoto declares, I, Prophet Jeremiah Omoto Fofane, has stated to the best of my knowledge that the said lady, Ruth Mathew, that has been criticizing Christ Mercyland Deliverance Ministries and myself, has nothing to do with the said allegations. Sometime in February 2019, one Ruth Mathew, who is physically challenged, came to Christ Mercyland Deliverance Ministries for prayers because she had heard of the philanthropic nature, as she claimed, because she had heard of our philanthropic nature, as she claimed. I, Senior Prophet Jeremiah Omoto, has never met this lady or her children, but I believe out of frustration, she wanted to get attention. She continued a story of a purported missing child with a popular Abuja FM station called Berekete Family in order to extort money by defaming my person and that of the ministry. All efforts by the police to get to the said Berekete family to hear from him were frustrated by the list of the conspiracy theories. He's just trying to say by the list of lies of Ruth Mathew, Ordinary Muhammad, resulting in a petition with the AIG's office, Benin City. At the end of the investigation, there was no proven evidence of any person or child by the name of testimony. I hope you heard the last statement. I'm going to end it there. I'm going to end it right here so that I can leave space for the other critical points that he made in his statement in the next episode of the Enlightenment series. So let's analyze this first segment or this first part of the statement that was given by Jeremiah Omoto Fofane. Let's look at the issues that he raised best to his knowledge as he claims. His first claim was the reason why this woman called Ruth Mathew came to Mercy Christ Mercy and Deliverance Ministry is because she had heard of our philanthropic nature. She has heard that we give out handouts. We give out money to people that come in attendance. That's what he's trying to say here, that she was driven by the motive of expecting to get a handout or a cash out during some of Omoto's programs that he hosts at Christ Mercyland. The second point that he raised was he has never met Ruth Mathew in his entire life, and neither has he met the children. He says that he does not know them because he has never seen them, he has never met them. He only knew about them when he heard the story of a child that is missing. So based on this, what Jeremiah said, that he never met Ruth Mathew, we can't force him to have met her if he claims he has never met her. But the point that I want to make to him is, it really doesn't matter whether you met her or you did not meet her. The fact that her child was abducted at your premises or in Mercy City, it's enough to hold you, Mr. Omoto Fofane, accountable. You are liable by virtue or by the legal obligation of duty of care. So this point alone does not aid water anyway, does not hold any substantial defense in your case to say you never met her. Whether you met her or not, that's why I said earlier, whether it's you or it's not who facilitated this abduction syndicate, you are still liable. There are so many things you did not do that you were supposed to do to help this woman or to prove yourself innocent, but you failed to comply with any of those things. And it is your failure to comply with those things that you were supposed to do that has made us all believe, even if the commissioner of police was decent enough, he could have already taken you behind bars by now. Because everything on the ground, it proves, it shows that you are the main suspect. It shows that you know something and you are hiding something. Even a blind man who can only hear me talking about this can come to the conclusion that the man called Jeremiah, as my mother calls you, knows what happened to baby testimony. Your failure to comply and your failure to assist or to take action or to also want to know what happened to the child is enough proof for us and evidence that you know something. You know what happened to baby testimony. The other issue that Omoto Fofane raised is this woman, the reason why she is continuing, or the reason why she went to Berekete family, because it was at Berekete family where this story was made public. And Omoto Fofane is claiming that this woman went or is criticizing me or is defaming my character just so that she can extort money from me. That Omoto statement that you made is based, it's coming from emotion. If she wanted money from you, I'm sure by now she could have cashed out. But there isn't enough proof to prove that she wanted money from you. It's just your own statement, it's just your own word against her that she wants money from you, but you can't prove it. So it's not enough. It's not a bold enough statement that can actually be used in your defense to say this woman wants to extort money from you, yet you do not have anything to prove it. Did she ever call you and say, give me money to keep quiet? She never. But it was actually some of the police officers that offered her 2 million naira so that she can forget about the child, but she never forgot about the child. So you really don't have a case, you really don't have anything that you said concerning the issue of baby testimony or the issue of Ruth Mathew wanting to extort you money. There is the final point that he raised that is going to be explained fully in the next episode when we are finishing the entire statement of Jeremiah Omoto Fofane. But let me give you a glimpse of what he said. And this glimpse now is going to make us connect Berekete and the AIG or the Commissioner of Police. Because according to the final statement that Jeremiah gave, not the final statement, to the statement that I'm going to analyze, that Jeremiah wrote in his sworn statement. He said, all the efforts by the police and the Berekete family and maybe by the AIG's office to find baby testimony were frustrated by the list of conspiracy theories that were coming from Ruth Mathew, or by the inconsistencies of Ruth Mathew's statements. He went on to say, after the investigation, which means there was an investigation that was done, after the investigation, they could not prove, Berekete family could not prove, the AIG's office could not prove, because I believe Berekete family wrote a petition to the AIG to do an investigation in this matter. Jeremiah Omoto, in his statement, he said, they could not prove that there is any child called testimony. This was in Jeremiah Omoto's statement. That after the investigation, the reason why, which is mainly the reason why the Commission of Police is now prosecuting Ruth Mathew, they are saying, is Jeremiah Omoto in his words, that after the investigation that they did, Berekete family, AIG, and the Commissioner of Police, they found out that there is no proof of a child called testimony. This child does not exist according to the investigation that was carried out. So I'm going to pause it here. In other words, what we are going to be looking at, some of the few statements that he made. He is saying at the time that this investigation was done, after Ruth Mathew had already reported to the police, had already gone to Berekete family, and the Berekete family wrote a petition to the AIG, they came to the conclusion that this child does not exist. Baby testimony does not exist. Maybe they found out that by not finding any birth certificates or any records of baby testimony. But the question is it true that it doesn't exist? Is it true that there are no birth certificates of this child called baby testimony? That's what we'll be looking at in the next episode of the Enlightenment series. So now, which makes us question, could this be the reason why Berekete dropped out? That he couldn't verify the existence of baby testimony. Like I have always told you people, I couldn't believe that Berekete could drop this case because of Ruth Mathew's inconsistencies. That was just not enough for me. So based on the statement made by Jeremiah Omoto for fame, does it mean this could be the main reason why the Berekete dropped out, that they could not verify that baby testimony exists? And the question is, does baby testimony really exist? It's a very stupid question, but I have to ask it anyway. Does he really exist? Is there records of baby testimony? Is there a birth certificate for baby testimony? It's a rhetoric question, of course. But now this exposes the compromise in the system. Now this exposes how the system is compromised. So a team of AIG's personnel or a team of Berekete family couldn't verify that baby testimony exists, to a point whereby Omoto can boldly put it in a statement that the investigation entails that this child does not exist. Do you see to those? The system is cracked. The system is rigged. There's many loopholes. Fighting for justice is one thing. And it takes a man with a different character altogether to stand for those that can't stand for themselves. Now we can imagine how much was rolled out to make up this case or to cover up this case or to water down this case. Because according to them, this case should have died back in 2019. It was supposed to die back in 2019. Baby testimony should have been forgotten by now, based on the statement that Mr. Omoto gave. This was the official statement. I'll read you the other part, but I want us to analyze it in pieces and pieces, so that we can entirely exhaust this issue and prove it to Jeremiah Omoto for fame and the AIG and the Commissioner of Police that they don't have a case. Not just that, we are going to expose how compromised they are. Because by now it's clear that brown envelopes exchanged hands The way this case was handled, it proves that brown envelopes exchanged hands. The needful was not done. The vulnerable woman is the one being prosecuted because they couldn't investigate the actual suspect, the actual culprit. The man who is supposed to be in court with the commissioner of police is Jeremiah Omoto for fame. But because Jeremiah Omoto for fame is a billionaire prophet, he would rather, he can do and undo, he would rather turn the commissioner of police against the actual victim. And it's so easy to do in Nigeria. It has been proven in this case that it's very easy to do. As long as you have money, you can make anything happen. Look at what happened. The commissioner of police is supposed to be bringing Jeremiah Omoto to court. He's actually taking the victim to court. The one who's supposed to be in court is sleeping in Mercyland. The one who's supposed to be counting on the commissioner of police is showing up in court every day to answer to a case of defamation of character. The commissioner of police now is litigating on behalf of a private citizen. They are now filling in the gap for Jeremiah Omoto for fame. Why is Jeremiah Omoto for fame not suing Ruth Mathew in his personal capacity for defamation of character? Why is he using the commissioner of police? Where does the commissioner of police enter? Why is Omoto for fame not bringing this woto to Ruth Mathew in his personal capacity? Why is he not claiming this defamation suit in his personal capacity? In a nutshell, there is absolutely no defamation of character here. The child was abducted in Mississippi. This has been proven, and this is the truth, since Jeremiah Omoto can't prove it otherwise. And the fact that the child was abducted in Mississippi, it's enough grounds for us or for the commissioner of police to be standing with Ruth Mathew. But because the commissioner of police is friends with Jeremiah Omoto, he will never do such a thing. He would rather throw Ruth Mathew under the bus than to have Jeremiah Omoto prosecuted. For them to say Ruth defamed, there's no character that was defamed here. She has the right. She's in a legal capacity, authority, to call out Jeremiah Omoto to release baby testimony. It is up to Jeremiah Omoto to do his own investigation to find out what actually happened to baby testimony if he has nothing to do with it. But as it stands, we hold Jeremiah Omoto responsible. We don't care what happened. We don't care who the women are. If it's not Precious Lungu, one of them, we don't really care if he is part of the syndicate or not. The fact that it is within his premises, he is liable and he is responsible. And he's the only one we can call out. Now it's up to him to do his internal investigation to exonerate himself. And when he does that investigation and then he brings us the CCTV footage or he brings us the suspects, then we can shift the blame from Jeremiah Omoto for fame and direct it to the right ones. Unless he proves it otherwise, unless he can prove that he has no involvement in this, he is still the culprit and the suspect. So I don't know how the commissioner of police did it. I don't know how they are doing it, but they are out of order. They are out of line. So let's wait for part 2 of Jeremiah Omoto's statement. Now analyze the few points that he raised in his statement already. One of the statements being that he has never met Ruth Mathew or the children. And the other statement that he raised is the reason why Ruth Mathew came to the church is because she wanted to get money due to the philanthropic nature of Mercy City and Jeremiah Omoto for fame. Another point he raised was that the reason why Ruth Mathew went to the Berekete family is because she wanted to extort money from Jeremiah Omoto for fame by defaming himself and Mercy City. And the other point that we are going to carry on from was the point of claiming that after the investigation was done by Berekete family and the AIG's office, they couldn't find proof of baby testimony's existence. That was the other point that he made, that baby testimony does not exist. So there's no case if baby testimony does not exist, which means this story of the purported missing child is invalid if the child does not exist according to the records. I don't know which records they checked in Nigeria, which proves them or which gives them this information. With that being said, I will check you out on the next episode of the Enlightenment series. This is Mr. Pull the Trigger. Let me know what you think in the comment section, and don't forget to subscribe and like the video and click the notification icon. I'm out.